Self-love is the new sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, it's W. Mark Watts. I want to say hello, welcome, and thank you to everyone for hanging out with me for another episode of Self-Love is the New Sexy. And today's topic is all about being creative / starting something new. Being creative / starting something new. That is super important to me, and I've probably touched on this on several different episodes if you listen to any of the other episodes. But today it's kind of top of mind because I'm always looking for new things to do, or I'm allowing new things, new thoughts to pop into my mind, and then I give myself the opportunity to decide which ones I want to start working on, or which ones I want to table for now, and which ones I want to get rid of, which ideas, which thoughts I want to get rid of. And I believe that being creative, starting something new, is so important on so many different levels. So let me give you an example of one of the things that I've started new. So you've probably heard me talk about exercising and making that part of my daily routine. Now, as we get older, it becomes a little more difficult, a little more challenging to focus on exercise and fit that in for some. When I was younger, it was very easy to do because I was active in sports. So I'd get a lot of my exercise just by participating in sports. But then as you get older, life starts to kick in. You start families, jobs, extra other activities. You're tired. And then that window that you used to have to devote to those types of things becomes smaller, or we perceive that it becomes smaller. And that's the biggest thing, is that we perceive that we don't have the time to do what we want to do. Now, I love exercising. I love fitness. I enjoy the thought and the ability to be physically fit for many reasons. Some of them are vain reasons. I'm like everybody else. I like to look presentable. I like to look a certain way, but I also like to feel a certain way. When I'm exercising consistently, I feel really good. My energy's high. I'm motivated. My mind's fresh and alert. So exercising, being fit and staying in shape for me helps me on so many different levels. But what I've decided to do now is I've decided to take what I usually consider exercise to another level. So I want to not necessarily start bodybuilding, but I want to build a little mass. I want to get in a little better cardio conditioning. And I want to make it really, I want to kind of create a program for myself that commits me to a more consistent schedule. And, I'm fairly consistent now, but I haven't really pushed myself lately. So the whole goal here is just to push myself to develop in areas that I've always wanted to develop in. And so now that's what I'm creating new. That's just something new that I'm doing. And, even me talking about it right now kind of gets me excited, kind of gets me pumped, kind of gets me ready to go do that. So that's why I mentioned, or I wanted to just talk on this just for a few minutes today. I'll be short today, but it's really important. So why is being creative and starting something new important? Here's why I think it's super important for us.
We hope you're enjoying today's show. If so, please take a moment to show your support for the show by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. If you have questions for W. Mark Watts, please feel free to contact him over at wmarkwatts.com, on Instagram at wmarkwatts, or on Facebook at Self-Love is the New Sexy.
First reason I think it's super important for us is it gives us something new to look forward to. We get set in our routines, we become comfortable, we become complacent. We can allow ourselves to become bored, or we can allow ourselves to make excuses. But something new to look forward to kind of activates us on many levels. And it gets us to continue to push forward and continue to, think differently and not allow this life to just become a mundane routine. Life is supposed to be a beautiful experience because there's so many different things out here that we can experience and enjoy and learn, that we have to initiate that though. You don't always want to sit and wait for life to force you to do things, because, life will force you to do things. I've been in many situations where, I've sat around and I've waited, or I've known I'm supposed to do something. And next thing you know, life forces you to make decisions or move in one direction or another, because it needs you to move forward and do something new. You're needed in a new space, new place. So it'll push you that direction. So why wait? Go ahead and think about those ideas. Allow them to come to you. Those little things that you always kind of push to the side or say, I don't have time to do, or I can't do that, or I don't want to do that right now. Those are the types of things that I'm talking about. So come up with an idea or two that you always seem to put on the back burner and get started. Make some plans. I'm watching bodybuilding videos, from fitness gurus, from guys who've been doing this for years and years, and learning specific exercises to build mass, to build specific muscle groups, how to work in cardio. What do you eat? How are you resting? What's the correct way to do exercises? So I'm studying all those things, and I'm learning that stuff because I don't know that stuff really. I've worked out some over the years, but I've never really focused on doing it correctly and have specific goals. So now I'm studying that, and I'm learning, and I'm applying that when I go to the gym now, and really focusing on technique and how much weight to do this, when to do these exercises, which groups to work in tandem with one another, how much rest that you need to take, how much all of that stuff. So think about starting something new, come up with one or two things, and then get started on it. Number two is that it really gives you a sense of achievement as you start something new and fresh. Because, when you're not doing anything new, then you're kind of resting on your laurels. I think each of us would be really surprised at what we're capable of doing if we really went all out and gave 100%. If we really tried, if we really focused, if we really utilized all the time that we have in a day. Many people will oftentimes tell me, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. Well, you don't have time because you don't make time, because we all have 24 hours in a day. And if you were to get up 30 minutes earlier, or maybe go to sleep 30 minutes later, that's 30 minutes or an hour right there where you could do whatever it is, that thing, that new thing you can devote right there. There's always ways to reshape what you do during the day, but it takes discipline. It takes a little bit of thought, and it takes a discipline to just rearrange some of the things that you're doing in your life right now to find that time to start something new, to give yourself. Again, it's important that we always give ourselves reasons to be proud of ourselves, and reasons to, and pat ourselves on the back and to do things that we enjoy doing, because that's what life is all about. Just doing those things that make us feel really good. So that's what, moving into that next space, be creative. allows us to do is just give ourselves an opportunity to be excited, to achieve, to be pleased with who we are, what we do, how we look, how we feel, and how we move about in this world. And the last thing I want to mention is when you do something creative or start something new, you really get a sense of gratitude. It really, I just believe this in my heart and soul. Now, there's no research to prove this, but I believe this in my heart and soul, is that when you do something new, start something new, and you start to focus on that thing, and it starts to feel good. Now, these are things that feel good for you and that hopefully are healthy and non-harming to anyone, and including yourself, that it releases endorphins in your brain that really make you feel good. And when you feel good, you're more likely to continue to do those things and continue to try new things. And when you're in that space, in that energy, life itself starts to become better, starts to look better. Everything feels better. You become more at peace. You become more relaxed. You start to look at things from a different viewpoint. Things bother you less. And those are all things that I want in my life in spades. I want tons of all those things I just mentioned in my life. And so that's why I always make it a practice now to look to do something new or to be creative. Because when you're creative, you release that greatness in you. Those thoughts that you have that you've buried or that you're fearful of, that you told yourself that you can't do, those are the gold nuggets that are embedded within you that are just waiting for you to unfold. They're just waiting on you to release them, to show the world, even if your world is just you and maybe your family, but they're waiting to be released. That's where that greatness is. It starts with creative thoughts. So be creative, allow something new to come up, not just something you've seen or heard, but that thought that you come up with all on yourself, a totally new thought. Allow yourself to play with that and birth it and see how that feels. You will really feel a lot better. So I invite you to try something new, very creative, and regardless of if you show anybody or anything, but just do it and watch how you feel. All right, folks, that's all I have for you today. I'm going to get out of here on that note. Be creative, start something new, and witness how you feel. I bet you will notice a difference. So be good, everybody. Look forward to talking with you all again soon. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.